Ugh, I'm so hungry. I wish the kitchen was closer to our room. Why do we have to be all the way up on the third floor of our big orange house? And why does the kitchen have to be so far away? I don't want to get up, but I'm craving some pepperoni pizza.
Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with getting pizza right now, you'd be doing better at this game. I'm so doing better than you.
Well, I'm just hungry. You don't have that distraction. If I wasn't hungry, I would definitely be doing better than you.
You fell in the ocean. Again. You're kind of good. But I'm the pro at Build Up to Survive.
Girl, can you get out of my room? You're making fun of me. That gives me the big mad.
I'm sorry for making fun of you, Lemonisha. I thought it would be funny. I didn't mean to make you big mad.
Sorry that I told you to get out, Cookie. Let's just play another game. I'm obviously not good at the other one.
I've had enough playing games for today.
But Cookie, I really want to play Adopt Me. Please, 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 I want to play.
No, I don't want to play that. Can we please do the new TikTok dance? I learned one, but I don't want to do it by myself.
Yes, since I'm the queen of TikToks, I will help you.
Didn't even notice, no punches that to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna
5,
say
6,
so.
7, 8.
Didn't have to moan it, keeping me in the moment. I bet you hadn't known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice, no punches that to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna say so. It's been a long time since you.
Oh my gosh, I was so surprised you even knew that dance. You barely have any videos posted on your TikTok.
Thank you for helping me make this TikTok. You know, you've been a little too nice to me lately. You let me have a piece of your cake for dessert last night. Why is that?
I don't know, I just feel like it. Why are you being so nosy lately? It's annoying when you have questions for everything that I do, especially when I'm trying to do something nice for you.
That's not very nice, Lemonisha. You don't have to bully me and call me annoying. You know, I already have enough issues with the other Griffins. I don't need you to be mean to me too.
Well, I'm not like those other Griffins. It makes me sad and mad that you think I'm like the other Griffins.
Well, when you bully me and call me annoying, it feels like you are like the other Griffins. They think just because they are legendary creatures with the body of an eagle and the head and wings of a lion, that they are so much better than everyone else and that they can make other people feel small or not as important because they are built different. I'm smaller and not as strong as the other Griffins, so they always bullied me like that. It hurts my feelings. I'm just trying to tell you how I feel.
Well, I didn't say anything wrong. At least you can do cool stuff and do cool tricks with the other Griffins. I can't do any of that.
Well, so what? I can't be sweet like you. You're a cookie, and I'm not. No one can take a bite out of me or anything. At least people like you for that. Everyone just makes fun of me for being smaller than the other Griffins.
Being a cookie is not that cool. Everyone always wants a piece of me for dessert, sometimes before I can even grow back another piece. That's nothing compared to flying around all the time like you do. That's not fair that I can't do that. Sometimes I try to be flying around like you, but all I do is make crumbs everywhere.
That's because you were never meant to fly. You're a dumb cookie. Cookies don't fly. That's so funny how you think you'll ever be able to do that. What a joke!
That's so mean! You're a bully and you will never be sweet like me.
No, don't leave. I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to bully you. The other Griffins just make me feel sad and bad about myself. It's not fair that they aren't sad like me. I want to make them feel what I feel. I want to get revenge on them.
Please don't get revenge on the other Griffins. That's not very nice. Making them sad or bullying them is not going to make you feel any better.
Oh well, I'm going to have a fight with them. Every time since I was a little Griffin, they always made fun of me and the other smaller Griffins. I'll show them what I'm actually made of.
That's not worth it. If you want to get revenge on the other Griffins, just have a talk with them. Don't have a fight. You should try to be the bigger person. Show them that you're a better, nicer person than them. Don't stoop down to their mean level.
That's a good point. I'll just have a talk with them. What could go wrong? I'll just tell them how I feel. I'm gonna go fly over to the Griffin Sky Castle and see if I can catch up with them. That didn't go the way I planned. I went to the Sky Castle to tell them how I feel and how they shouldn't bully people who are different from them. And they laughed at me and threw me off the Sky Castle. And then, when I was flying back home, I accidentally fell again and hit my head. It hurt really bad. I should have never gone and stood up to them. It was useless.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, but don't worry. You don't have to feel bad. You're strong and independent, and you aren't afraid of anything. You can do whatever you want. You're brave and beautiful, and you stood up for yourself. That's better than they will ever be. And you have better friends than they will ever have.
Thank you for saying that. That makes me feel really happy and loved. I really am lucky to have a friend like you. I'm sorry we fought over the games earlier. I should have never compared you to the other Griffins.
I accept your apology. I'm so proud that you chose to be the bigger person and not get revenge on those other Griffins. That takes courage. Would you want to play Adopt Me with me? We can get better at it together.
That sounds like a great idea. Let's go.